My name is Mark Bowd. I am the Senior Vice President of Metrostudy. I'm here to share with you the Residential Economic Report, National Edition. This is a quarterly report, the heart of which is our modeled forecasts of over and under supply of housing throughout the nation, as well as over and under valuation. We give a 5-year forecast which is dependent upon those factors which most influence the housing market, and we'll begin with a national forecast of the employment situation. So in the United States, we are really in the middle of a strong economic expansion. We created 2.8 million jobs in 2015, and we're forecasting between 2.8 million and 3 million jobs being created during year 2016. 2017 is also a healthy year in terms of job growth, but thereafter we begin to taper down, partly because the unemployment rate falls to such a low level that it's hard to find the laborers to expand it at a faster rate. On a national basis, we're seeing especially strong growth in the health and education services industry, as well as professional and business services. We're seeing strong growth in trade and leisure and hospitality. We're finally seeing construction jobs really beginning to pick up. Despite some labor issues last year, we expect more construction jobs to be created this year. And even the government sector, which has been losing jobs for years, finally had a positive year last year, and we expect that to continue in 2016, adding to what has heretofore been a private sector-driven recovery. For housing construction trends and forecasts, over 1.2 million residential permits are forecast for year 2016. That will translate to about 1.1 million new homes and apartments being constructed. In year 2016, we forecast that there will be 3.1 jobs created for every home being built throughout the year. That is an imbalance, which means that the demand side of housing is growing faster than the supply side, and that will continue for the next few years. For mortgage rate trends and forecasts, mortgage rates are likely to begin to rise during the latter part of this year. They've actually fallen since the beginning of the year and are near an all-time low, partly in reaction to the stock market downturn, as well as international troubles, which are reducing inflationary pressures. All of these trends and forecasts associated with factors that influence housing demand and supply are shown on this slide in terms of supply and demand trends and forecasts for the next 5 years. The supply curve is shown in blue. It shows the total number of housing units, including apartments, that are in the ground at any given time from 1990 forward through our 5-year forecast. The green curve is a representation of housing demand throughout the nation. The gaps between demand and supply are reflected in the lower chart, and we think that right now we're beginning a period of undersupply which will actually grow in magnitude and continue throughout the balance of the 5-year forecast. Understanding housing supply and demand, however, is only half of the equation. The other half is associated with housing affordability. In this chart, we show actual median prices of housing on a national basis in the blue curve, and then our 5-year forecast. In the green curve, we show where we think prices should be based upon economic, socioeconomic, and demographic fundamentals. And when there are differences between those two curves, we experience either overvaluation or undervaluation. The national housing market has been significantly undervalued during the past few years. Nothing like the significant period of overvaluation or bubble that we experienced during the peak of the last cycle, but more like an offset of the undersupply that we'll be experiencing during the next 5 years. These charts are numerically shown in what I call the Opportunity Risk Index, which shows numerically the patterns of housing demand, housing supply, housing price, and housing over or undervaluation. All of that is shown as an index which describes what the market will likely be like during the next 12 to 24 months. During the next 5 years, we expect the housing market in the United States to remain healthy in terms of transactions and volume, and even positive price appreciation, albeit at decreasing rates as we begin to bump along the ceiling of overall pricing potential. So in summary, we see year 2016 as a healthy year in the housing market. We'll have somewhere between 2.8 and 3 million jobs created. about 1.2 million housing permits, something shy of 1.2 million housing starts, and about 1.1 million housing closings. Mortgage rates will increase, but we expect those increases to be gradual and probably won't start until the latter half of this year. And we expect an increasing amount of undersupply to form as the cycle matures. The Residential Economic Report is available for every major metropolitan area throughout the nation.